hope you all are doing well. So topic for today which we are going to discuss is the introduction to corrective muscle stretching. The introduction to the corrective muscle stretching. So basically when we are talking about yoga or any other sports activities where body is involved, if you are talking about yoga or any other sports activity where your body is involved, the muscle stretching has an important role. This muscle stretching has an important role in your yogic practices or wherever where our body is involved, whether it is in yogic practices, any physical practices like your Zumba, belly dancing, or any sports. So when we're talking about the stretching, as we all know, we need stretching. We need stretching to prepare the muscles. Am I going to use that particular group of muscle with tightness or without tightness? This is the one thing which we have to focus, my dear friends. So stretching is a technique, right, which lengthens the muscle, which increases the extensibility, right, which increases the extensibility of your muscle fiber. It's not we are pulling or pushing the muscle fiber. It's not we are doing any magic and it will loosen up directly. It increases the extensibility of the muscle fiber so that we can hold over there. So when we're talking about the stretch, the correct muscle stretching. So why we are discussing this muscle stretching? Because most of the injuries that happens when we don't know which type of stretching which we have to use before the practice and after the practice. As we all know, a good amount of stretch, an average amount of stretch, we need it. If we are doing overstretching, then it leads to injuries, right? If we are not stretching enough, then there is an overactive muscle and underactive muscles. So then as we are trying to get into any pose, maybe the muscle doesn't work properly or sometimes balance get out and there will be an injury. So stretching is a technique, right? We all use the stretching to increase our endurance and balance. It is a design, it's just not only to increase your endurance and balance, it also prevents you from injuries. So it also prevents you from the injuries. So basically when we're talking and this attention comes to the stretching, so two types of stretching which we can say, there is one is static, one is dynamic, right? The one is static stretching and one is dynamic stretching. So the dynamic stretches, right? Dynamic stretches which you have seen that people use it before any sports. Players mostly they use it to prepare up themselves for the particular activity. So it's not only the sports training, in yogic way also we can use in this modern scenario. In this modern scenario, we can use that dynamic stretching also. So this dynamic, as the name suggests, the dynamic, it's not stationary. It is movable, it is with the movement, it is with the locomotion, right? So the dynamic stretching, it is movable, it is not static. It is with the locomotion. So when we talk about this dynamic stretching, so dynamic stretching needs the body movement. And when we have to do this stretch, we have to do it and we have to perform it for pre-activity, right? We have to perform for pre-activity. Before the activity, we can use this stretch. If you have seen some players, like they use some different movements over there, like they are using this movement, right? They are using ankle movement. So this is when we are using the stretch in relation to the body movement. So some of the stretches which we can see that in the dynamic stretch, if we talk about standing hip circle, right? The standing hip circle which we use like this. So this is dynamically we are moving. So we can do this standing hip circle 3 to 5 repetitions clockwise, then 3 to 5 repetitions anti-clockwise. If the balance is the issue with the beginners, you can use the help of the wall here, and then pelvic has to be neutral, and then we can do standing circles. So this is standing hip circle to remove some mobility, to remove some stiffness and get more mobility in your hip joint. So this we can do the standing hip circle clockwise and anti-clockwise. Then we can do some leg swings also. Like leg swings we can do, you have seen people use it, up, forward, backward, forward, backward. So this leg swings which we can use. So 10 repetitions on the one side, then we switch to the other side. Make sure pelvic has to be neutral, spine long. So that standing hip circle and then standing leg swings which we can use. Then people for the trunk rotation, they use like this way also. They are doing the trunk rotation like this in the simple manner. But we don't have to twist our pelvis on the either side. Like this is if we are doing. So you can see from the lower back, if we are doing this, if the person has a high arch, it creates more compression. So the person has a high arch, it creates more compression. So we have to rotate from the trunk, my dear friends. What we say? Rotation comes from the trunk, so stable. This much is a range, no problem. But don't try to too much. And don't try to create pressure on your knees. See, other knee get hyperextended and this knee get internally rotated. So this way we can do, or if you want to do more stable, slightly you can bend your knees if your hamstrings are tight. So trunk rotation we can do this way. Here we go, like this. So this is the way we can do some trunk rotation according to the level of flexibility. So we have discussed about your standing hip circle. The standing hip circle, balance is the issue. Use the help of the wall. 5 to 10 repetition one side. And you have to do it in both directions, clockwise, anti-clockwise. Then we have a leg swings. So this leg swing bring you stability plus flexibility also and plus mobility also. So this leg swings which we can do, forward, backward, forward, backward. Then we can do some arm circles. This you can do the arm circles in the dynamic stretching. So we can do clockwise, then from back to front, then from front to back. So this arm circle in this way we can use, and this is shoulder circles also we can do. Clockwise and anti-clockwise, 5 to 10 repetitions. So this is what we can do. Then we can do the butt kicks, right? The butt kicks, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. This we can do butt kicks in the dynamic stretching. So make sure pelvic has to be neutral. If you want to do it one by one, slowly and slowly, if the balance is the problem, 1, hold, 2, hold, 3, hold, 4, hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. So movement, not in the hurry, it has to be well performed, right? It's not like this, we are doing this and taking the movement from the trunk. This is the wrong way. Statically, first find your balance. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So this we can do, right? So this is all about the butt kick. Then we go to the lunges. So lunges we can do the dynamic one, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Then we can go with the other side. Hold it here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So we don't have to take the knee above the ankle. Whatever the range it here, just hold it there. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So this is what we have to do, guys, like for 5 to 10 minutes or maximum 15 minutes we can practice all these movements to open up more with the help of your dynamic stretching, which is a good stretching type to perform for pre-activity, right? That you can do with the pre-activity, so it will open up and prepare your body for the postures, right? It opened up and prepare your body for the poses. So this is all about for the dynamic stretching. As we discussed that stretching is the good technique. It's not only bring endurance and balance, but also prevent us from injuries and maintain your normal muscle length. So there will be good blood circulation and no excess pressure on your nerves and the bones. So the joint becomes more free and stable. The next, it comes to the static stretching. Static, which is not moving too much, which is when we come to any pose, we are holding. So mostly in the yoga, we are practicing static stretching. If we are talking about the traditional hatha yogic practices. So in these practices, we have to follow this mostly static stretches, which we are trying to hold for the little bit duration of time. So that will also increase the extensibility, the length of the muscle for the longer duration of time. So the muscle memory easily be maintained in your brain, right? The muscle memory can be easily maintained in your brain. So there will be then the good muscle memory in the brain, whatever the muscle part or whatever the body part we are using and the group of muscle which is going to be stretched. So then we can focus and there is a good memory in the brain to lengthen the muscles here and bring good amount of nutrition. So in the static stretch, when we're talking about the static stretch, basically it performed for post activity, right? As we have discussed in the dynamic, it performed for pre-activity. The static stretching is performed for post activity. So different basically stretches are there, that seated and standing toes reaches, right? Seated and standing toe reaches. So basically in the seated, we can do with the chair also. We are trying to hold the toes here and hold the stretch. So 15 to 30 seconds, we have to hold the stretch. 15 to 30 seconds, we have to hold the stretch. So this comes under the isometric stretches, where the length of the muscle remains same and I am not moving too much from here. And breath has to be normal, inhale, exhale, without any discomfort or the pressure. And release. Standing way we can also do, like reaches the toes. If tightness in your lower back, tight hamstrings, try to take more distance between your both legs, slightly micro bend your knees and try to reach your toes and hold it. And spine has to be straight, 15 to 30 seconds. Breath has to be normal. No any extra stress on the breath. And release. So this you can do. Then we can do the knee to chest. So in the knee to chest, just holding for a while. We don't have to compress our rib cage. Slightly go outer, external rotated, and try to touch your same shoulder. And trying to touch your same shoulder, make sure other leg has to be active. It is not going here and there. It has to be active and stretch. Opposite shoulder has to be grounded. 15 to 30 second hold. And release. Then we go with the other leg. Trying to get it from the outer side little bit. Stabilization of the other leg also. Active. Shoulder on the ground, 15 to 30 second hold. This is a good stretch for your glutes, for your back muscles. and release. So this which we can do with the knee to chest. Then we can go with the butterfly. So holding a butterfly, but not, this is again, it comes to the dynamic. So we have to hold it here, and as much as we can touch, we have to hold for 15 to 30 seconds. 15 to 30 seconds with the normal breathing pattern, and then release. So any stretch which is static, same thing you can take with the rotation one also by holding, and you can do some trunk rotation here. Then we can change the side, simple, spine has to be straight, and rotate. So whatever we can say guys, whatever the posture you are trying to practice, if you do some, like suppose your theme for today to teach is the forward bending, right? So as we know, in the forward bending we need some hamstring stretches, right? We need some calf stretches, we need some back stretches. So according to that way, you can go with some dynamic stretching before the practice and some static after the practice, or in yoga mostly we do with the static stretching. So after practice you will feel more amazed that more range of motion is coming out there. So this static stretch, it's basically the whole design has to be around 15 minutes. Whatever the static stretches which we practice, it has to be designed for the 15 minutes. So it's better that we have to know about that. What is the corrective muscle stretching is there. With the beginners, if you feel stiffness is there, joint rotation we needed. So according in relation to that, dynamic stretching is good little bit in gentle way, with alignments, with balance, with stability. As the person develops their mobility and flexibility there, then we can go with the static stretching also. So they can hold easily without any disturbance with your breath. So whatever the postural designing you have, whatever the theme of the class, if you are going for rotation, so we can do some dynamic trunk rotation by touching the toes like this way, or we can do some rotation with the static way also, in where we are holding a pose for the longer duration of time. So guys, that's why we have discussed like how and types of stretching which we have to practice before yoga and after yogic practices. So if we are doing these exercises properly, so there will be minimizing of the injuries and less chances of the injuries. So this is all about the introduction to the corrective muscle stretching. So till then, take care of your muscles, stretch them in a good way, not in the pain way, right? So if the pain comes there, this will be, we are using some wrong stretching techniques. So stretching is not there to give you pain. It is there to give you some healing, some range of motion, and some momentum to your practices. So till then, take care of your muscles. Namaste. Have a nice day.